We're in the round of 16, starting over here at the top left side of the map. We have none other than XMGSocke. XMG is actually pretty cool, man. They're a good brand. I'm pretty sure like XMG turned it like from one of those like kind of organizations. Like they managed to actually go that weird route of going from a organization into like an actual team. Because Todd's on there as well. Because Todd, Socke, I need to take a look at the full roster of the team. Like they're growing their team. Like it's not exactly. Or at least it doesn't feel exactly kind of like that Rocat team or Rocat sponsor or the CM Storm for like Pol or Hyun. They're actually forming like more of a team than anything else. So who knows, man? Maybe in the future they're going to be able to compete a little bit more. But Socke, always a very talented European player. Ever since I actually started broadcasting StarCraft 2, I remember him. And former Brood War Terran player as well, if I'm not mistaken. But good to see that he's still going at it in the StarCraft 2 world, and usually performing pretty damn well. Starting down here at the bottom right side of the map, representing mYiStardust. Good friend, met him finally for the first time in person at MLG Anaheim, and it is Stardust. Dude is a sick, disgusting baller nerd, man. Of course, he's one of those few Korean players that transition their life over to Europe, over to the foreigner, I guess you want to say, lifestyle. But they're still very dominant players, very dangerous players, winning a lot of tournaments, winning a lot of leagues. Stardust, of course, one of those players you'll always see in EU WCS. You'll see him at the Dream Hacks. You'll see him in the deep inside the cups and everything like that. And right now, this is going to be a really good opportunity for him as well, because part of, being in one of these tournaments and having the potential to travel over to China is also growing your exposure as a player. So, and for those that are just tuning in, welcome back in. You might have been watching the ESL, IEM, not ESL, but the IEM Toronto qualifiers. Hopefully you guys enjoyed those. Today we're in the European qualifiers of the Hong Kong eSports second annual tournament. And this is the third qualifier. We're going to have, I think, 4 more. We have North America on Friday, Taiwan tomorrow, and then China and Hong Kong on the last 2 days. August 5th and August 5th through August 10th, we're going to have the group stages casted by myself and also Breaker Rush. So those should be very fun to watch as well. And then, of course, towards the end of the month, we will, towards the end of August, actually, not end of the month. This is the end of the month, but towards the end of the month in August, we're going to have Tastosa's broadcasting the grand finals. Now, a little bit of a breakdown as we're seeing this play develop. We're seeing Socke go for a little bit of a proxy Stargate. In terms of a little bit of a breakdown, I think it's $10,000 in prizes. We have 6K in mind for first place, 2K in mind for second place, 1,000 for third, 500 for fourth, but more importantly than anything else, well, money's really important, by the way, but WCS points are on the line as well. 300 for first place, 200 for second, 150 for third and fourth, 100 for fifth through eighth, and 75 for ninth through 16th. So if you manage to get through these qualifiers, you already bank yourself 75 WCS points. Do you know how many WCS points I have? 0, man. I would take 75 WCS points in a heartbeat. Stardust right now coming over with the Mothership Core and his Stalker trying to ping away at his opponent's Stalker and already getting more of the damage done. He could probably surround and take out the Stalker as well. So nice little trade right there from Stardust already starting off. But Socke does have the Oracle coming out. Does Stardust have units in defense? He has 1 Stalker, but that is not enough. That is officially not enough in my book. He might have to recall back with the Mothership Core. I don't know if he's even got enough to recall and eventually also be able to activate a Photon Overcharge. But lots of probe damage is going to get done over here. With only a Stalker or 2 in the mineral line, you could get a lot of probe damage done. And you can see he's trying to focus down. Is he going to be able to save this Stalker? I mean, sorry, the Oracle. No, he won't be able to, but damage has been done. Shots have been fired. 6 probes down for Stardust. 25 to 21 worker lead right now in favor of Socke. But remember, Socke, he needs to have a backup plan, and which fortunately he does right now. He's dropping a robotics bay behind all of this. We'll see if, in fact, Stardust does decide to walk out. Looks like no, not yet. Blink is not finished up, but he's going to get a few more worker kills here. You can see he just needs to focus fire down. He's going to get out of there for the time being. So, and again, with having that Oracle in the game, that's a huge threat to the mineral line. Always a huge threat to the mineral line. If it's keeping the Blink Stalkers back at home, that's not good for Stardust. And I'm really not sure how Stardust is going to be able to continue or pushing through in terms of this map, because right now what's going to happen is with the Robo out for XMGSocke, he's going to be able to produce Immortals. He's got the Twilight Council as well, so he's going to be safe. He's not going to be caught off guard by DTs or anything like that. He shouldn't be caught off guard by Blink Stalkers either, because worst comes worst, he has the Photon Overcharge. His SimCity is very tight as well, so everything is right now along the edge of the Mothership Core range. So I would say if I could draw that invisible line right here, this is the range right now, so only a few of the Stalkers could actually be able to walk up here close enough to fire even at these gates and before taking some damage themselves. So Stardust, for the time being, activates the Photon Overcharge to hold off the Oracle. First Immortal is out on the map. Photon Overcharge activated for XMGSocke, and this is what I was talking about, that invisible line right there. So for now, he's going to have to press back, and he's got to be careful, because I know he really wants to try to take the advantage of going on forward and maybe pick away at units here and there, but the problem is with that Immortal out, it's just a little bit too much damage output. You're risking a lot for very little gain at this point. So Oracle going to be coming back in once again for XMGSocke. Going to get some damage done. 4, 5, almost gets number 6, but man, we're talking about worker losses. 14 total right now for Stardust, man. This is what I'm talking about. XMGSocke is such a good, like, veteran seasoned player. This is what you really look for. And now Stardust is going to be heading down to the bottom right side of the map. We'll be able to spot, where is that damn Oracle coming from? And each time it comes from the right side, so it gave him a little bit of a hint, I would say. Of course, first priority, depower the Stargate, and then, because, well, Pylon, you lose the Pylon potential to supply block your opponent too, you're going to be able to pick off the Stargate as well, which is really nice. XMGSocke, meanwhile, already transitioning into his mid-game, I want to say, dropping down the expansion. He's already got a couple of Immortals out, getting his own Blink as well. XMGSocke, in my opinion, in a much better position, and oh man, just so clean, so smooth. Dropping down that pylon, going to be blocking off his opponent for just that much longer. And remember, StarCraft, it's a game of seconds. It's not a game of inches. It's not a game of physics. It's not a, you know, you're not having to exactly exhaust your body. It's not a game of speed. It's a game of seconds. It's how, you know, how quick do you react? How quick do you place, you know, an expansion down? Are you able to get there in time? Like, it's a game of seconds. 1 second later, and you could be in a little bit of trouble. Now, Stardust, of course, going to be doing a little bit of his own worker harass as well. Going to be heading into the main with the Blink Stalkers. Another Photon Overcharge is activated, but Blink is done for both players, remember. So XMGSocke is going to continue trailing, but he will get surrounded. Well, one Stalker could go down. Yeah, another one goes down. He's actually going to try to focus down. Look at all these little Blink wars going on around here. This is fun, man. I'm telling you, I'm starting to grow admiration once again for PvP. At the end of Wings of Liberty, I had a huge admiration for it because of how well the matchup was developed. This, in Heart of the Swarm, within the year, about year and a half, it's about in the same place that it took it 3 years to get to. So, very, very entertaining to watch. I really, really do enjoy it. So XMGSocke, of course, coming up. For now, Stardust sort of trapped himself within his base, but going to be able to pick off the rest of the Zealots. So at this point for Stardust, it's going to be up to him to show some really good macro of his own. He actually dropped down the Stargate himself. He's going to go and try to harass and get maybe some more workers at himself. Now, he's got to be a little bit careful because there are Blink Stalkers, so you are risking, I feel like, also, once again, a little bit too much for too little by going up into the Stargate. He's dropping the robotics base, so planning to get into the Colossus tech. Without Immortals, though, it always does scare me. It does scare me, but here we go. 1 worker down, 2 worker down, 3 workers, and he gets out of there, man. Stardust, the sniper. +1 underway for XMGSocke. And this is what I'm talking about right here, because if XMGSocke is managing to keep up with the worker count, if he's managing to keep up with his army composition, we probably should be seeing a robotics bay come down from him very shortly as well, unless he wants to go into more of a charge lot Archon-esque composition. He's sitting at what I would call an advantage. Due to his ground army, he sits at an advantage. It's really up to him how he controls the tempo of this game. Hallucinated Phoenixes, of course, distract some of the Stalkers over here on the south side. Meanwhile, over here, Oracle, I'm not sure if it was able to get any more kills. Looks like it wasn't. But if you're in a position like XMGSocke, you have a stronger ground army. With the Immortals, with the Blitz attack, you're of course going to have the stronger army. You're going to be following it up with the Colossus as well. Main thing is just keep tracking tabs of your opponent. If you're able to, you know, watch out for these Blink Stalkers, not lose a lot to them, then, you know, you should be okay. And honestly, this is one of those moments where I feel like Socke could bring up one Immortal as well. Just split up the army just a tiny bit. Does, in fact, Stardust have a... He does have an obs. Oracle comes in here, gets 3 more kills. Coming inside the main base, and he will have to pull up some of that army. He just needs to split up. Send a couple of the send a couple Immortal or an Immortal and a couple Sentries with Zealots, and takes out the pylon, but able to catch a Stalker of his own. So both players, they are trading a little bit. Well, what Stardust is doing here, while he's doing all of this harassment, he's buying time for himself to gather up an army of his own. He's managed to grab the worker lead as well. Notice that, 49 to 45. So in PvP, one of the most volatile things is actually that worker count, in my opinion, because it does make a bit of a difference. Again, towards the late game, a little bit less due to the fact that it's really up to positioning and army composition, but when it comes to this stage of the game, to be able to actually get those upgrades, some of those necessities that a Protoss composition needs, you really need to make sure that you keep a very stable economy going for yourself all game long. Oh, I see Theory in chat. What's up, baby? I missed Theory, man. For those who don't know, first of all, he's an awesome Protoss player, by the way, in the North American scene. But he's also one of my CSL casters, and I enjoy broadcasting with him. Sorry, I'm starting to get a little bit of a separation anxiety from the CSL crew a little bit. All right, so mYiStardust is going to be coming up here once again. Pick actually off 2 Stalkers, and he's going to head into the back of the mineral line. Going to try to get that cannon. We'll lose a Stalker along the way. We'll get the cannon, but trading away Stalkers for them. Like I said, you got to be very careful when you're risking the unit when you're risking those unit counts. And actually, Socke is going to begin heading out of the map. Stardust, where does he decide to go? He's actually going to go back inside the main base over here. And Stardust is doing a wonderful job, like I said, distracting his opponent, going back inside the main base, killing off workers left and right. Socke is like, well, if you could do it, I could probably do it as well. Both players are grabbing their third bases. And can he get the Observer? That's actually going to be really big. Oh, he lets the Observer go, and that's what's letting these Blink Stalkers come back inside the bases over and over and over again. Revelation spell dropped on the whole natural. Not sure if he exactly needs that, but he does at least get to keep tabs on the Mothership Core, I guess. Meanwhile, down over here at the third base, we do have some Stalkers coming over. We'll be able to get some actually free worker kills as well. Look at this. A little bit of a gift wrapped party hat of a present right there for Socke. More workers. Oh, just gifts upon gifts, man. The gift that keeps on giving, man. Lined up probes. Meanwhile, over here at the building third nexus of Socke, we do have some fire coming at it. We'll probably push it off. Yeah, it just brings over the main army, anyways. Oracle still very active for Stardust right now on the map. Going to be heading towards the main base. Another warping of Zealots over here. So for a little bit of time, we're actually going to have no detection, no defense back inside the main base. And without warpins, this Oracle is going to have quite a few kills upon its hands. And oh, just screaming bloody murder. 14, 15, 16, and finally, I think after 16 probe kills, this damn Oracle is going to go down. Absolute nuisance right now for. Absolute nuisance for Socke. Stardust starting to mine out of his main base right now. Same as well for Socke. Really important that they have a third base right now, or they might bleed out. Now here comes the move out from Socke. What does he have right now? We take a look at the unit composition. 4 Immortals, 3 Colossus. About the same amount as Zealots, Stalkers, and Sentries, but you take a look, how is Stardust specifically going to deal with this? He's got 1 Archon. He's got 2 Archons. He's going to need more Archons to be able to deal with this. The plus attack right now is definitely in favor of Socke, even though he's down on supply. As long as he grabs good position on his opponent, I think he should be okay. Now he gets a few zaps at that Colossus coming on down. For whatever reason, it just looks like the army for Stardust is a little bit thicker, and I think that's just due to the Colossus count right now. It's 6 to 3. Gonna have to really rely on some of that ground army to help him out. Some of the army splitting up inside the natural, distracting him. Immortal's still doing a wonderful job of living on through. The Immortal does go down, but behind him, some units do arrive and distract. Now Charge Lots are going to press up against Socke's Immortals, and that's not going to allow them to focus fire any of the Colossus or freely fight, and now getting pressed back. Stardust is just chasing this. Time Warp does come down. The Colossus for Socke come forward up again, need to back up though. So not as good of an engagement as I thought it would be for Socke, just due to the fact that he had Immortals, and I felt like sheer amount of Zealots, he would have been able to maybe bust through and eventually start focus firing down some of those Colossus in the back, but man, no chance. Now a total of 7 Colossus out for Stardust. He just needs to rebuild some of those ground army units, the lighter portion of it with the Zealots, add in some Archons and probably a couple Stalkers just in case, but right now Socke really hurting. Really hurting. The worker count's a little bit in favor of Stardust. The tech is caught up in terms of upgrades 2-2. And just now Socke beginning to form his own Archon, so I'm not sure, does Stardust want to try to capitalize on this? Well, Socke does see it moving around on the map, and he sees everything going to be going back for now, so he can breathe easy for a couple more minutes. Meanwhile, a little bit of a run by over at the third base for Socke. Second look I'm seeing right now what else is on the map. There's that run by going up to the top right side of the map, but while that's going on, we could maybe have a little bit of a breach of security at the natural. Rocks under duress, and here comes all of the Colossus. Of course, Templars there to form into 3 more Archons, and man, while that army is chasing just those charge lots, he really needs to come back and help out, because he's going to start losing quite a bit if he doesn't. Well, he breaks down the rocks and actually decides to back up for the time being. Stardust actually having his +3 a little bit quicker, as well as also getting his Warp Prism upgrade. Pretty sure that's a warp, yeah. Big run by for Socke coming at the natural right now. Charge lot numbers do favor him though. There we go, defensive warp in position. Here comes that Warp Prism. Here comes the units coming up onto the high ground. Oh, they got to be careful. That concave, man. It's all about positioning. I think Stardust actually just has more than enough to actually break through right here. But we'll see. Stardust's worker count goes down to 45, but that's not really too big of a deal. Any deficit right now is actually looking like more of an advantage for Stardust in the army value. Stardust is going to be hitting Socke from 2 angles at this point. Main army, of course, he has to deal with it, and if he starts chasing out after this army over here at the right side of the map, that's going to open up an opportunity for him to come inside the natural, and this is going to draw back the main force back to deal with this, and unfortunately, while he's dealing with that, he's got no chance of holding this off. Stardust actually just focusing down the Nexus, and look at this Nexus go down with the +3 upgrades. This thing will fall. In fact, Socke down to 1 base for the most part. And man, the hurt just continues for the guy. Fortunately for Socke, he didn't lose many units during this time, or it wasn't after a very big fight, so he was able to rebuild the Nexus right away. But the longer this game goes, the worse it's going to be off for him. Once again, forcing the cancel on the 3rd Nexus, lifting up and saving some of those Zealots as well on the ground, so... Once again, army coming up inside the natural base. Not going to be able to get a lot done, though. He's very shying away from the engagement, but if those Archons go down right away, I think he could just press on through. I'm not really sure what exactly Stardust is shying away from. His numbers are very advantageous. Socke loses his Colossus while he's trying to defend this 3rd base right now, and I think that is, well, it technically should be it, but Stardust once again playing very passive right now, playing very patient. DTs are walking out all over the place on the map. 3rd assimilator getting hacked away at. There is a cannon there in place for it, but due to the detection, Zealots come over and hack away at it as well. Stardust right now actually probably needs to take a 4th base just to, if he's going to be playing this passive, take a 4th base just so he could be, you know, in a very confident position. And that's the thing, like, he already could have won already twice at this point, but he's very picky about his engagements. And that, I think that's just due to the part that it would have been walking up a choke, but really when he lost all of those Colossus, I'm not sure why he shied away. Here comes the main army for Stardust at the third base of Socke, and I think... I mean, I would think this would be game. Yeah, and GG coming out from Socke. Alright. So game number 1. Going to Stardust.